loophole to the immigration problem so that I can move to Japan. I think that there is an emphasis on saving and thinking about long-term financial security in Japan is a reason why Japan, in many ways, is stronger. In the U.S., there is no savings economy. People really don't think beyond a few months, and so somewhere near half of the country actually lives in what we call asset poverty. It seems to me, although my experience is limited, that the same is not true in Japan, and so that would be an argument certainly for why I should come live here.
Thank you. And I want to ask you, a Japanese debater, do you want to move to United States? Because in Japan, probably you will not get any pension fund. You will not payment from the pension fund. Why you want to live in Japan?
I like Japanese food.
Okay, I totally agree. And probably it's a time for making opportunity for other guys to make a question.
Yeah. Thank you very much for a nice debate, and I have a question on affirmative. Look at this is very interesting debate with the negative running into counterbalance actually, and I kind of thought of well, if now in 2AR actually, I might actually grant both counterplan, arguing increasing consumption tax and adopting both of the plan actually would be the best optimal taxation and financial policy for Japan, because as you said, that's increasing saving tax might increase the consumption because they don't want to put the money in the bank, and that completely offset a fear of losing the consumption because of the consumption tax increase, and then you actually move into the private pension system that actually remove the long-term government financial risk actually. So even if I think you might actually found the cost somewhere, although you haven't read it. 10% is not enough to solve that problem. So adapting all three plans actually without negating the proposition might actually be the best course of action for Japanese government. Actually, have you thought about that?
So just real quick survey of the room here. Raise your hand if the argument permutation is something you've heard before, or you understand what that argument means.
Yes.
We have the same thought. I actually wrote a lecture during this debate
Right,
that I
so
will
we
use my 15 minutes to talk about.
Okay.
No, it's good. Yeah.
Let me just say a couple things about what this means. So they have some counter plans, right? Just like, say, nod if you follow. They have counter plans, 2 counter plans. So we say, yeah. You get what I'm saying? A little bit?
Well, I wrote a whole lecture with PowerPoints and everything while the debate was going on to talk about permutation theory.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I guess Brian will talk about it.
No, please.
Well, what was your point then? All right. So permutations mean that we can do both. Okay, the plan and the counter plan. And so the question was, wouldn't it be better to do the affirmative plan and then both of the counter plans all together? So I think that that's a great 2AR. But we decided that that would be less of a good rhetorical technique.
Audience adaptation.
Than just saying that the counter plans were bad. But do you remember the argument that just because another plan is better doesn't mean that the first plan was bad? Right? So it's just it's sort of a logical statement about the desirability of raising a consumption tax. Just because something else can be better doesn't mean that raising a consumption tax is bad. So when you decide who wins and loses a debate, you have to set an obligation about what the affirmative and negative have to prove, a burden of proof. And so I guess the last thing I'll say about this is that the negative has a argument which they've invested quite a bit of time in, that raising a consumption tax is bad, right? They said raising consumption tax is bad, right? So if that argument is true, then doing just privatizing pension fund and the savings tax, those two, better than doing those two plus raising the consumption tax as well, all three. So you still have to answer that argument anyway, which means it makes more sense to just answer it. Sorry.